Back to the Common Sense Crypto channel, everyone. This is Rich making another video on XRP today, as usual. We're going to talk about XRP today. So I hope everyone is having a fantastic day wherever they are in the world. I must begin with this. The bullish XRP structure is still in place. 3 additional targets are released by the analyst. According to Kenji, we will reach $3.00 if we surpass $2.40, $2.60, and $2.80. Additionally, they refer to $3.00 as the psychological level. And I concur with that. We have already surpassed $3.00, then we descended again. People currently believe that we will never again surpass $3.00. So our run is going to be amazing. It's coming for sure. The current cycle is proceeding as it is expected to. However, it will only take time for it to occur. Now, it's not the time to give up. We are now far too near the finish line. I understand why so many people want to quit up. You know, this run has lasted a long time, and it seems like every time the market starts to rise, something happens that pushes it back down again. However, the price will inevitably soar. There is no doubt that XRP will have a great run later this year. It's about to start. On Tuesday, the Senate will cast its vote on the Genius Act's final passage. Eleanor Touré is the source of this. After this is approved, it will go to the president's desk, where it is anticipated to be signed immediately. This means that the Genius Act may be in effect as early as next week. That might serve as a catalyst to move this market if it occurs. As part of its leadership change, the SEC has added individuals with experience in cryptocurrency. And, you know, they had the opportunity to do this while Gary was at the SEC, but they chose not to, as Gary Gensler was only interested in destroying cryptocurrency for his corrupt politicians and large banker cronies in Washington. They could have hired somebody with extensive expertise in cryptocurrency to work for the SEC. It's finally beginning to happen with Atkins. And it's unfortunate, since there are a lot of laws that need to be followed before we can begin making money with our XRP. The CEO of Uphold talks about using Flare to stake XRP, ways at US regulatory obstacles. In a recent interview with the blog, Uphold CEO spoke confidence about the prospect, stating that XRP staking looks both viable and intriguing. But there is a caveat. The fact that XRP is not a proof of stake network makes it difficult. There isn't a reliable staking mechanism. Earning yield by locking up tokens to maintain a proof of stake network is known as staking. Since XRP doesn't function in that manner, Uphold is looking for a solution. Flare, a developing DeFi ecosystem that McLaughlin hailed as flourishing, is a potential partner for Uphold. On the Flare network, Flare enables you to create a wrapped version of XRP. In the suggested concept, Uphold would lock the amount in its own XRP reserve as soon as a user chose to stake XRP. We would then generate a wrapped version of XRP by sending a value competition across the Flare blockchain using a function. It's a Flare asset though, FXRP, he says. Many people stated that they would not use this unless it had been evaluated over an extended period of time. However, as the institutions arrive, there will be a lot of new methods to learn how to make money off of our XRP. However, this is still early. As of right now, Axel is attempting to accomplish the same goal, listen to it, plus a few more of the room's block scenes. However, in reality, interoperability renders blocks useless, correct, and available to all users. Making the current use cases simple to utilize is therefore more important than creating new ones. What elements make up an interoperability solution then? Although there are a few distinct approaches to designing an interoperability solution, the most often used one involves using an entity to transfer assets and messages between chains. Historically, centralized exchanges like Binance, who have a large corporation that casts these assets on behalf of consumers, are thought to have been the first to provide interoperability solutions. You provide them with a single chain of assets on their platform. You perform an exchange on the opposite chain. They provide you with assets. Naturally, all of the centralized prison solutions that are being compromised over the years, with the next development of that, losses up to billions of dollars. We adopted a completely different strategy with Axlord, saying that we don't want a single individual in the middle who is only moving assets between chains. Rather, we will have a decentralized blockchain with comparable security assurances to those of current blockchains. Correct. Axlord wants to open up DeFi for XRP as well. And I'm really interested to see what they do. Regulations are still an issue though, because you can't be sure if the SEC will accept a wrapped form of XRP security or not before we can begin to generate passive income from our XRP. That will be a significant obstacle that must be overcome, but it will happen. Hong Kong introduces policies and a framework for licensing digital assets. Hong Kong appears to be on the verge of implementing regulations as well. Thus, they start licensing digital assets, which has an impact on stablecoins and trading platforms. Innovation and financial services integration are the main priorities. Regulatory developments in custody and over-the-counter trading enhance institutional appeal. Thus, it appears that Hong Kong has also been working on stablecoins a lot, and I believe that will continue. Everyone is currently working on laws because once they are in place, it will be much easier to conduct cross-border payments and remittances. Tokenization begins to gain traction all around the world. Stablecoins are being utilized. While the US was falling behind, all of this was being worked on. When it comes to rules, other nations are well ahead of the US. Hong Kong will not be an exception. Amazon and Walmart are considering releasing stablecoins of their own. Banks and the conventional financial system may lose payment activity to corporate coinage. And the same theory was spoken, just pointing out that there is a lot of potential for an instantly settling bridging asset when everyone produces a stablecoin. Not including a link to XRP, a highly interconnected chain network, is also necessary for this. You still require a bridge asset, regardless of the number of stablecoins that appear. The majority of folks are missing that section. Every time they see a new stablecoin, they immediately think it's the XRP killer. Even if it's not, all of these stablecoins can be enhanced with XRP. Additionally, the banks are moving in the same direction. What if, asks the digital asset investor. As a result, when the Amazon partnership is revealed, everyone will be talking about XRP. On that day, millions of users will purchase XRP. Hence, this collaboration is being postponed. Kendra Hill was discussing a collaboration between Amazon and Ripple back in 2015. However, according to the Amazon Web Services panel, we have a staff member specifically tasked with ensuring that XRP may be utilized for payments. Smoke is the source of this. Pay close attention. It's preferable if we work with them up front. And then payments, of course. Additionally, we have a team member who works with various businesses, customers, platforms and apps to determine where XRP for payments can be useful. Let me remind you that AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. A stablecoin is being created by Amazon, and that is how Amazon will work with XRP if it is being used to move that stablecoin. However, Kendra Hill at Amazon owns a stake of 5 billion XRP in a 2015 agreement. Until the collaboration is made public, that XRP is now locked in an account. Are we witnessing the initial indications of this collaboration being revealed? Until the SEC versus Ripple issue is resolved, I doubt we will hear the complete announcement again. However, listen to Brad. Garlinghouse in 2018, before Kendra Hill, XRP bags are the source of this. It is pointed to a few hundred engineers are employed by companies such as Amazon, and their sole function is to integrate into global payment networks. Because as of the last time I looked, Amazon was only able to process payouts in 19 different currencies. Even though Amazon is a $2 trillion 0 cents company, their marketplace, which accounts for a significant portion of their sales, can only pay out in 19 different currencies. And that is a patchwork of global integrations from China to India to the EU. Now, if you consider the implications of that for a business in a more tangible way, we have discussed it with other networks and markets, such as Uber. Uber is aware that paying its drivers more regularly increases their retention rate. One of Uber's biggest problems is that people sign up, become drivers, and then leave. This implies that Uber needs to find new drivers. And that's not very good. It's likely that some of you arrived here this morning in a taxi. Upon exiting